You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruin your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement?
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
Which people forget this was a franchise. It's a couple books.
The whole thing's crazy.
They're fucked.
And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case.
He's going hard
too.
in the paint. But that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did it for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that. It was like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right,
Dude,
enough.
he posted the receipts.
Oh,
he's like, oh,
receipts are
remember our
crazy.
text exchange? Bah, bah,
How about
bah,
she told
bah.
him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
The fun
and then
ass.
part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it, because everyone just bows
Because everyone's
down.
scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, they're the queens.
That's like eating.
Joe Rogan just stunned the internet with bombshell claims about Blake Lively that have Hollywood in full meltdown. On a recent podcast episode, what started as a light celebrity discussion spiraled into something darker when Rogan disclosed unsettling claims about Blake's dynamic with husband Ryan Reynolds. But what really sent shockwaves? Rogan didn't just speculate. He presented alleged proof tying Blake to a secret relationship with Justin Baldoni. Now, the flawless image she's upheld. For years, is crumbling fast, and the consequences could destroy everything she's worked for.
Now coming forward and saying the real truth, the heartbreaking truth behind the dramatic look is this. The father of two unveiled his new surprising look last week, shortly after admitting he was exhausted from a year of emotional stress. He's been spending time with his children in Hawaii with his wife, and he debuted this edgy haircut, stark contrast from his character in the movie. Now, sources have revealed after struggling with the huge toll on his physical and mental health, Baldoni was prompted to make big changes. Justin's physical and mental well-being was severely impacted by this. An insider told Daily Mail it's extremely disturbing for him to look back at photos of himself from last summer when all this was going on. Now, look, I can relate to this. I'm sure a lot of you watching can. When you need a change to your emotional state and being and you're stuck, a haircut can actually really do that. If you have your typical look and you actually shave it off or grow it out or dye it or do something crazy to it, it really can change your point of view of, okay, we're starting a new phase. We're doing something else. For the longest time, I had a ponytail through high school. And then I had an issue, a moment, and it was a very traumatic, emotional moment for me. And I made a point to cut it all off. I was like, I got to cut this off. I got to start.
If you only caught the headlines, you missed the real chaos from Joe Rogan's latest podcast. Episode 1984 of The Joe Rogan Experience didn't just rattle cages, it torched reputations. What began as a fun chat about A-list couples quickly took a hard left when Rogan brought up Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Initially, it was the usual praise, the flawless red carpet duo, known for their witty posts and fairy tale love story. But then Rogan paused, leaned in, and dropped the quote that changed everything. I've seen stuff that would completely change how people see that marriage. According to Rogan, he was shown private messages from Blake Lively herself, texts leaked to him by people within the industry. These weren't just complaints. They were deep, emotional rants about her resentment over being stuck in Ryan's shadow. One message reportedly read, "I can't keep faking it, everything looks perfect on the outside, but I'm lost." This came just as rumors swirled about turmoil on her latest film set, making Rogan's revelations feel less like gossip and more like confirmation. He said Blake's text showed this wasn't a sudden outburst. It was a long simmering storm of insecurity and professional tension. Within hours, the episode was trending everywhere. Twitter exploded. TikTok turned into a digital detective agency. Podcast clips flooded social media feeds. The reaction was instant. Sources say Blake's PR machine kicked into overdrive first. Of exclusive interviews, favorable stories, anything to spin this narrative back in her favor. But Rogan wasn't finished. He hit even harder in the second half of the show, claiming the texts also revealed how Blake had been intentionally leveraging Ryan's influence to push her own projects, all while selling the story of being independently successful. She's playing both sides, Rogan said. Using Ryan's platform when it benefits her while telling everyone she's built her career solo? That one line set off a frenzy. Suddenly, fans were questioning every red carpet moment, every flirty Instagram post, wondering if it was all just part of a bigger PR plan. This narrative is shattering the perception of Blake Lively as a relatable, down-to-earth actress. Her polished image built on charm, humor, and humble success is now under a microscope. And the question on everyone's mind, what else has been buried behind that perfect Hollywood smile?
To a lot of people, sure, he's clearly got this darker side where he wants to have control of his projects, but in a weird way, I with Deadpool, the way he took over Deadpool, I kind of understand where he went, and it seems like he did make amends with Tim Miller, from what I've gathered. So I'm not on the hate Ryan Reynolds train like everybody else, because he may be being fed something else. He may, when he took over Deadpool, that really was his character, his voice. Like, he has to own that. Now, I think he could have treated Tim Miller better, of course. I think Tim Miller would admit that as well. But from what I've gathered, and I don't, Tim Miller is apparently good with all of it. Tim Miller doesn't want to be involved in any of this nonsense, and Tim Miller's not jumping up and down, jumping and saying that, yes, let's torch Ryan Reynolds. Look what he did to me. So I'm not as mad at him. I know everybody else is, and you guys can be, but I'm still hung up on this idea of, like, why is he buying this? Why is he allowed to go? Now, she's the mother of his children. So yeah, that's a fair reason. He's in love with her. They've been together for quite some time. They are seemingly committed to their things. They talk all the time, yada, yada, yada. He is a loyal guy, apparently, unless you're shooting Green Lantern and you're with Scarlett Johansson. But aside from all that, the rumors even there were that she didn't want to have kids, and he did. And so, look, is Ryan Reynolds really that stupid? This is the question I'm asking you.
Those picture-perfect couple moments we've all admired might just be the surface layer of something much deeper and far more calculated. Behind the polished facade of Hollywood's golden pair lies a complicated and frankly unsettling relationship dynamic. Joe Rogan's now infamous podcast episode pulled back the curtain, suggesting that Blake Lively, not Ryan Reynolds, is the true force behind the curtain, orchestrating much more than just Instagram-worthy moments. Most of us bought into the narrative. Adorable interviews, loving online exchanges, playful red carpet banter. It all seemed to confirm that Ryan and Blake were the dream team. But according to people who've worked closely with them, that cheerful public image doesn't match what's been unfolding in private. Crew members from at least 3 productions involving the couple have come forward, describing an atmosphere where Blake clearly called the shots. In meetings, it's Blake running the conversation. One insider told Rogan, she cuts Ryan off, dismisses ideas, and takes over when execs are in the room. That authoritative presence doesn't stay confined to work, Rogan sources allege that Blake also has a heavy hand in Ryan's personal life guiding. Everything from the roles he takes to who he's allowed to share the screen with. Reportedly, 2 major actresses were removed from a film franchise Ryan leads after Blake voiced concern. It raises questions about how far her influence reaches, and whether it's been underestimated all along, even their most lighthearted. Public interactions are being reconsidered under this new lens. The couch jokes, playful photo edits. The witty who wore at better games what once felt like harmless couple goals now seem like carefully constructed power moves. Behind the laughs, this might be a reminder of who's really managing the narrative. Rogan also cited accounts from ex-household staff who described Blake's grip on every detail of Ryan's media presence. One former assistant recalled having to text Blake mid-event to ensure Ryan's answers aligned with their joint brand. Nothing went out without Blake's sign-off, the source claimed. From outfits to quotes, she was the final word. And what about Ryan? According to sources close to him, he's beginning to feel boxed in. He's devoted to her. One friend reportedly confided to Rogan, but he's grown tired of always checking in for approval. This quiet resistance could explain his recent shift toward business ventures areas, where he has more autonomy and where Blake's oversight doesn't extend as far. Even Blake's PR tactics have come under a microscope. Rogan's podcast alleged that private texts show her working closely with her publicists to create a dual image. A strong, self-made star who still reaps the benefits of a powerful celebrity partnership. One message reportedly read, "We need to highlight her solo success while tapping the couple appeal. Another discussed subtly aligning her launches with Ryan's projects to keep public interest high. Without making it obvious, so what are we really looking at, a genuine romance or a finely tuned publicity machine? Rogan and his insider network believe it's the latter. They paint a picture of Blake Lively as the strategist, building not just her brand, but curating the Reynolds Lively duo into a media empire. And if that's true, fans may never see this power couple the same way again.
Brandon Schwab and Joe Rogan are talking about the Justin Baldoni
One's
case.
You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruining your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement.
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
Which people forget this was a franchise. It's a couple books.
Fuck,
The whole
man.
thing's crazy.
They're fucked.
And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case
He's
there,
going hard in
too.
the paint. But
He
that's
should.
what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that. It was like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right,
Dude,
enough.
he posted the receipts.
Oh,
He's
the
like, oh,
receipts are
remember our
crazy.
tech exchange? Bah, bah,
Well, how about she
bah,
told
bah.
him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding,
With a fun
and then
ass.
part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts
Because no one's ever done it. Because everyone usually just bows
because everyone's
down.
scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, don't they're the queens. 20
Oh,
like it's
but
20.
that's like eating.
Oh,
That's it. He gets interrupted, but I would love to hear Joe keep going on that because it's such a good point. Yeah, look, we're learning that with our documentary. A lot of people are afraid to come forward and afraid.
Beyond her marriage, Blake Lively's craving for control reportedly overflowed into her film work, and the fallout has hit hard. The public breakdown of It Ends With Us wasn't simply creative clashes, it was, according to Joe Rogan's insiders, a textbook manipulation scenario. What should have been Blake's breakout from Gossip Girl and Ryan Reynolds became a cautionary story of behind-the-scenes sabotage. At first, the film looked like the perfect launchpad, a gritty, emotional lead, a loyal fan base, and Justin Baldoni, sensitive director-star duo. But crew members told Rogan that Blake didn't settle for just starring. She tried to commandeer the production. 3 people close to the set say conflict flared early, with Blake submitting daily script revisions. One even noted that if Justin resisted, she'd leverage her producer status to override him. Tensions burst during intimate scenes, a camera. Operator described Blake stepping in as her own intimacy coordinator, altering lighting, movement, even blocking. If Justin didn't comply, she'd halt the take. It got worse when Rogan's team obtained private messages allegedly sent by Blake during filming. He keeps directing me wrong.
I
am Lily, one read. Another said, tell everyone I'm uncomfortable. With his approach, yet on set, crew recall a different story. Justin followed her rehearsal cues, only to be later accused of overstepping. One production assistant told Rogan that after Justin complied, Blake suddenly flipped. It was bizarre, she said. Allegedly. Blake spun the narrative to producers and industry insiders, painting Justin as the troublemaker. One producer told Rogan that was the opposite of what we saw, longtime colleague added. She thrives on control, and when challenging, she rewrites the story. That same drive for dominance reportedly extends to Blake and Ryan's public family life. Branded as fiercely private, their PR image is allegedly the result of meticulous design, not natural behavior. Former team members say every raw moment is orchestrated. Announcements about pregnancies, kids, or family life are timed to align with major career milestones. Consider the pregnancy reveal just ahead of Ryan's big release, not a coincidence, according to Rogan sources. We need this 2 weeks before premiere. One text read, even casual revelations like their daughter's name on a talk show were strategically placed. Media analysts noticed 3 pregnancy announcements coincided perfectly with major promo cycles. Their rare family red carpet outings follow this pattern too. Former Entertainment Insider likened it to a family play card deck. Baby name. Reveal, sweet parenting anecdote. Rare photo used when press coverage waivers or narrative damage control is needed. Viewed this way, Rogan's revelations cast the Reynolds Lively brand as a tightly managed media empire. Blake is portrayed not just as an actress or wife, but as the mastermind crafting it all. And once those cracks appear, the fairy tale facade begins to crumble, revealing a far more calculated operation than anyone thought.
Brandon and Joe are spot on, and it's just encouraging to see more big personalities, outlets, celebrities just talking about it realistically and not the way Blake and Hollywood is trying to spin it, which a lot in Hollywood are. Now, clearly Joe's not afraid. He says what he wants. He always has. But still, it's still a massive, big platform. And to see him out there talking about it honestly and actually sharing the proper facts can't help Blake and Ryan. They must not like seeing such big personalities and people with so much sway, but being out there calling it out for what it is, because let's be honest, Hollywood doesn't like that. They don't like us being honest. They don't like us telling you the truth. They try to to massage everything into their narratives, right? And that's what these big A-list stars, as Joe's implying, do. Ryan and Blake, as we know, we're trying to cover this up. Ari Emanuel, all these people trying to keep this up and say, oh yeah, believe the woman, believe Blake, she's telling the truth. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. So kudos to Joe and Brandon for bringing this out. It's nice to see them out there doing it for the boys. Yeah, well, doing it for all of it, I would say. Doing it for all of us. Because, again, abuse shows no gender, as we learned with Johnny Depp. Women can be bad. Men can be bad. Yeah, we should listen to everybody. If they got a complaint, if you're going to come forward and make this complaint, you want to assume they're not lying and making stuff up. But sometimes they're over-exaggerating and such, as I think is...
Those picture-perfect family snapshots, they fooled fans. But not Hollywood, and that wall of admiration is crumbling fast. Once untouchable, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds now face silent exits from ex-friends, colleagues, and former collaborators who can no longer prop up their flawless facade. For years, co-stars and crew has sung scripted praise about harmless pranks, charm, and their kindness, but Joe Rogan insiders say it wasn't genuine. That applause was cultivated via favors, quiet threats, and image management rivaling a political campaign. One break happened when a prop master from an early Blake film revealed she demanded his firing over the wrong shade. Lipstick, one small incident that cracked open the floodgates. Within days, 3 more crew members shared stories of meltdowns over coffee temperature or lighting they thought unflattering. Casting directors who once lined up to work with them now allegedly trade warnings. One telling Rogan Blake keeps a never-again blacklist of over 50 crew. Even award-winning actresses privately tell Rogan to reject roles opposite her. If you upstage Blake, your scenes vanish in editing. Blake's fashion image is under fire too. Stylists claim she's taken credit for their designs using stolen mood boards and crediting herself publicly. Undiaz meant to silence them. Personal friendships are shrinking. Tags with A-list pals have dropped 78% over 8 months. Former pals skip events. Don't tag Blake and Ryan publicly. And the worst part? Private messages revealed to Rogan show Blake's strategic communications, not venting. One text allegedly outlines hijacking a female co-star's promo tour with timed personal news to dominate headlines. They implicate a secret circle stylists, publicists, celebrities working to control her image. One insider says Blake meticulously notes every actress her age, tracking press cycles, roles, weakness scient, apparently using that intel in small smear campaigns or secret casting influence. Even the children aren't exempt. It's Blake and Ryan advertise. A private family message, but behind-the-scenes planning shows. Deliberate timing of baby announcements tied to Ryan's promo cycles. According to Rogan, Blake scripts Ryan's public remarks, which anecdotes to share, what tone to strike, how to present her in staged, spontaneous moments. These sweet pranks were reportedly choreographed to appear off the cuff. This mountain of manipulation threatens to collapse their image empire. What started as fleeting podcast remarks has become a full-blown crisis. Insiders leaving, friendships falling silent, public perception shifting. The carefully curated Reynolds Lively brand lies cracked. The question now is whether they can weather the reveal, or if every future Instagram post will be viewed as a staged move. Fairy tale is cracking, and underneath lies messier truth than anyone expected.